Hey, I'm Daniel, and I'm a music producer. This is what most days look like for me, but almost just as often, this is what my day looks like. Making content for social media. So, as we all know, social media is kind of an echo chamber, and oftentimes it's much more harmful than it is helpful. However, if you're like me, then oftentimes you depend on social media to bring in income. So, how do we manage this tension? Before we answer that question, let's first discuss another question, and that is, well, what is wrong with social media in the first place? Fundamentally, social media is not made with your best interest in mind. As first said by Richard Serra and then later popularized in the documentary The Social Dilemma, if you don't pay for it, then you are the product. The reality is that companies are spending astronomical amounts of time to keep your attention on their app as long as they possibly can so that they can then peddle advertisements your way, and therefore they can profit by your online purchases and by your attention. If you're seeing content that you don't normally see that's making you emotionally invested and emotionally reactive, chances are you're being shown that to get you to spend more time on these apps. If you're seeing the most current hot takes on hot button topics that you don't really care to see, you're probably being shown that or pushed that content to keep you on the apps for longer. So the fundamental problem with social media is this: it steals our life and it distracts us from our priorities. Do you remember those goals that you set about a year from now? All the goals that you swore to yourself that you were gonna reach in 2025 that you ended up not hitting? Well, the chances are most likely you would have been much closer to reaching all of those goals had you spent less time on your phone. I hate to be that guy, but your mom was probably right. It's that dang phone. So, if you're like me and in many ways you financially depend on social media, then what are we supposed to do to manage that tension? Well, that's a great question. I'm really glad you asked. Let's talk about it. First off, make sure you write down your goals and priorities. I really can't overstate this enough. You've probably heard 1,000 people say this before, but if you don't write it down, it's far less likely to happen. Make sure you put this list in a place that you're going to see it very often. For example, you can make it your lock screen on your phone. You could put it on your bathroom mirror. You could put it on your kitchen countertop. You could put it on your car dashboard. There are lots of places that you can put this list that you can guarantee that you're going to see it no matter what. So I encourage you, make sure you do that. Make sure you also filter everything you do through this list. If it's getting you closer to your goals and it's in line with your priorities, then do it. If it doesn't align with your goals or your priorities, then cut it out. Don't waste your time doing it, okay? Now, these next 2 points are gonna require a little bit of help from someone that you trust. Firstly, ask someone who knows you pretty well what they think your priorities are based off of how they see you spend your time. This is super important, and it will give you an honest, unbiased look at what your priorities probably are, whether you realize it or not. If based off of their analysis, your priorities don't match what your actual priorities should be, or you're hoping that your priorities are, then pivot and do less of the things that are not in line with your priorities and do more of the things that are in line with your priorities. Next, ask someone for accountability. You're gonna be a lot more successful if you do this with a friend, if you do this in community. So that is my encouragement. Go with somebody else. And also make sure you guys are checking in with one another fairly regularly, every couple weeks, maybe once a month. See how each other are doing as you're both moving towards your individual goals. You ask them how they're doing with their goals. They ask you how you're doing with your goals. And make sure you give that person real space to actually challenge you and be humble about it. After you have all your priorities and your goals listed down, what I would encourage you to do is to even evaluate why you're opening social media every time you do it. Figure out why you're using it. What is actually your goal, even with social media? Are you opening social media to avoid a challenging conversation? Are you opening social media to numb pain that you're avoiding dealing with? Are you checking to see if your peers are more successful than you, aka keeping up with the Joneses? Figure out your purpose and your motivation for why you're opening social media. And also, be mindful that if you're opening these apps without any forethought, you're likely going to fall victim to the bottomless feed. If your reason for opening the apps moves you closer to your goals, then please, by all means, continue. Open the apps, spend a couple minutes doing what you need to do. If it takes you farther from your goals, then close the apps. Honestly, maybe even turn your phone off and put it out of sight. Point number 3, curate your feeds. You can actually use social media and play the game kind of to your benefit if you're intentional about it. Scroll with intentionality. Don't scroll aimlessly. That's how you end up spending 5, 6, 7, 8 hours on your phone without any plan. And you're throwing your time, you're literally wasting your life away on these apps. But oftentimes, social media algorithms are curated in such a way that they will show you more of the things that will keep you on their apps for longer. We can use this to our advantage. If you regularly interact with the things that are actually aligned with your goals, guess what? Instagram or X or whatever are going to show you more things that are aligned with your goals. We can use this to actually motivate us towards accomplishing the things that we want to move towards. Also, every mainstream social media app has a see more or see less option to kind of filter the content that you're shown. On Instagram, I believe you can long press things and say not interested, or click the 3 little buttons at the top right of an image and say not interested, or show me more of this, that kind of thing. But you can actually curate your feeds on purpose to move you closer to the things that you want to get done and farther from the things that are distracting. So just keep that in mind when you're scrolling these apps. Number 4, limit your relationship with your phone. Set allotted intentional amounts of time to be on your phone. If you're gonna scroll social media no matter what I tell you, let's try to do it smart. A couple ways that we can do this are, before you even scroll social media, first go to your timer app. For your convenience, there is a timer shortcut in the control panel of an iPhone. If you have an Android phone, then I'm sure you can easily set up a shortcut to get to your timer quickly without even having to think about it. So before you open a social media app, go to your timer app first and set something like 10 to 30 minutes for you to scroll. If you just want to scroll mindlessly, I encourage you at least put boundaries around it. And as soon as that timer goes off, no matter what, you close the app or you even turn off your phone. Another thing that you can do is add screen time limits for certain apps. In the screen time app, there is an easy way to add a limit to things like Instagram or YouTube or whatever, Twitter, so on and so forth. And that way, as soon as you exceed that time limit, your phone immediately closes the app. Now, unfortunately, there are easy ways to bypass that. You can just say like add more time, add 15 more minutes, whatever. Now, the way that I bypassed that or got around it was by downloading an app called Opal. Now, this is not a sponsored video, but Opal has personally helped me and has helped my wife with limiting our screen time significantly. Opal, unlike screen time, after you exceed a certain amount of time on an app that you've set for yourself, it not only closes the app, but every single time you try to reopen the app, it directs you to Opal. If you go to Opal and you try to reset your time, it makes you wait a minute or a minute 30 seconds or however long before you can actually go back and open the app. I think it's really helpful. I highly encourage it. Another way that you can limit your relationship with your phone is to delete social media altogether. That's something that I ended up doing. I don't have social media on my phone aside from Facebook, which I honestly might delete Facebook here soon too, because Facebook Marketplace is kind of the place to be. But doing this alone has saved me literally probably hundreds of hours over the course of this last year. So delete social media if you want to be extreme and if you're really serious about reaching your goals and not wasting your time. If you still need to post on social media, but you don't want to spend all that time on the apps, there actually are many third-party apps through which you can still post on things like Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. A couple that I suggest that I've used for Instagram and Facebook are Hootsuite, Meta Business Suite, and Planoly. These are 3 out of many dozens of different apps that allow you to circumvent or whatever, get around using the actual native apps and still allow you to post to the apps and have more or less all the functionality you need to in order to post. If you don't want to use a third-party app and you're still adamant about using the actual apps themselves, X, TikTok, Instagram, so on and so forth, then what I would encourage you to do is to batch content or batch amounts of time that you spend on these apps. One practical method is to, a couple times a month, sit down and record a handful of videos and then schedule those videos to post after they're all edited. That way, you don't need to open up the app every single time you want to post to Instagram. Are you awake?
I'm so hungry to be recording.
All right, go to mama.
Come here, let's go play outside.
Go to mama. I love you. Bye-bye, Nisi. Mwah. And lastly, number 5, make sure that you always regularly evaluate your progress. Maybe once a month, check your screen time and see if you're actually moving a little bit closer towards your goals. See how your time is actually being spent on your phone. Screen time and apps like Opal actually break down your screen time and show you if your time is being spent on apps that are productive or apps that are wasting your time. And so this is a very easy way to see what you're actually doing and how you're actually spending your time on your phone. Also, make sure you check your screen time against your list of goals that we talked about earlier. If the way you're using your screen time is moving you closer to your goals, then that's how you know that you're on the right path. If your screen time is actually pushing you farther away from reaching your goals or slowing your progress towards your goals at a pace that you are not happy with, then I would encourage you kind of reevaluate your screen time and figure out what you can do to get you closer to your goals at the pace that you want to, so that you can ultimately be successful by whatever metric you determine that success to be. All right, friends. Well, thank you so much for being here again. I'll see you again very soon with another video. I'll see you in 2026. And I wish you all the best with making your plans and setting out your goals for this new year. And I encourage you really strive to be a better you, not just for your own sake, but for the sake of your friends, your family, your community around you. And if you want to support me more directly, of course, you can check out my Patreon where I post music breakdowns. I have 3 up right now at time of posting this video. That's my goal. At least I have 1 up right now. And I'm working on getting a couple more done for you guys. But I post things like that and other content, unreleased songs and that kind of thing on my Patreon. And so if you're interested, you can support me there for as little as a couple of dollars a month. See you soon. Bye.